And indeed, that stream is starting. There we go. Good morning, slash afternoon, slash evening, everybody. I am your host today, Don Bessel, with the GRG Esports group. Hope you're all doing well today. This is round number evening, everybody. 6. Just gonna do that. It's not muting. Por favor, senor. This is just my just my backup so I can see what's going on. It's always helpful. There we go. Got that dealt with. Always has a bit of an issue with me sometimes. Does my laptop. That's good. At least I know I can hear myself and that we're all working. So that's dealt with. Lovely. So we'll get to it then. So round number 6, as I've just said, of the GRG ACC, of course, a Competizione GT4 Championship. British GT, of course, with the one flyaway race to Spa-Francorchamps. That was last week out. And we're back again in the UK with a lot of sunshine. No, not a lot of sunshine. The track is literally flooded. It's pretty wet out there. 9 joining us tonight, which isn't a huge amount, but 50 minutes of racing with 9 here. It should be pretty fun nonetheless. And Summer Sal looking to maintain his championship lead over the rest of the field. Gotta have a good show tonight here for sure. As Kishan Hall goes a little deep out the final corner, and there goes the Porsche. I think that was Ryan Przewalski that just went, but the session's now over. And as we get out of this moment, here we go. Lovely. Get out of that because we don't need it no more. We are going to wait to see who the first car onto the grid is. 15 minutes of quali. Only a wet track now, so just slightly better than it was in the free practice session just then, but only marginally better, and that's really not going to help things. And there goes a GT4 Mercedes there. I'm saying GT4, they are only GT4s, so I think that is Mr. McCord or Ivor Trowicki who's doing that. So we wait for the camera to pick it up. Is it Trowicki? No, it's not. It's in the golden car, so that must have been Mr. McCord, the only other Mercedes out there, but we've got some callers already to the outside world. Wouldn't have been some of these final conditions extremely tricky coming out of the old hairpin there. Getting it lit up on the AstroTurf there. Of course, the AstroTurf, very easy to use when it's dry. As soon as it goes wet, AstroTurf is one of your worst enemies. And look at it, it's littered all around the outside and the insides of corners. You see on the inside here, there's a little bit there for you to take, and on the outsides too, at most corners, there's the curb, and there's a little bit of AstroTurf just ready and waiting to snatch you up, and it's a lot harder to deal with than grass, to be honest. The fake grass proving a bit more of a challenge compared to the normal grass. And if you do get a little bit wrong and light it up out some traction zones, you're gonna spin it around pretty quickly. But hopefully our drivers here tonight understand those challenges, and they'll be able to compensate and deal with so accordingly. We are actually gonna just boost up the sound there, so it's all nice and loud for you guys. There we go. Should be good there. And coming out the final corner to start his first line lap is Mr. Sald in the 68 Camaro, the only Camaro. Bit of a left field choice, but he is leading the championship, so it has to be working for him, that's for sure. Cuts the inside at turn 1, and that may even invalidate the start of his lap there. Possibly. There's Hernan Gio in the number 1 car. And there's also BMW. Started their lap going through turn 1 along with the 24 of Dirk Diggler, otherwise known as Keith Hurst. And the number 7 Julian Vrak. And coming across the line, now you're seeing that track map there in your bottom, or on your right side of your screen, the 999 car, Mike Trowicki. They're also coming across the line. The only person who hasn't joined the circuit yet, a bit of a slide on coming out of that right-hander there. I don't even know the corner names of that specific place. Was Sam again, but sliding again. Bit of a slide on coming out the corners here. The only person yet to join us on tracks, the 24, has gone round. That's Dirk Diggler, who's gone round and retired back to pit road. We'll go on board here with Salman. Actually, no, with Derek. We'll go with Derek. And you see the windscreen wipers in full action with it very wet here, and it's going to be very tricky conditions indeed. I'm going to bring up a Darlington track map so I can, you know, learn turn names and stuff, because genuinely can't remember and it's not ideal. McLean's, that's it. Coppice afterwards. Then coming off at the old hairpin is one that I do know is Mr. McCord, having a bit of trouble out there at the beginning of this qualifying session, but I'm sure he can rein it in as I almost drop a Coke can on the floor. That was ideal. And coming off then into McLean's is Derek once again. Not ideal for him. Let's go back to Salmonseld, who has gone through turn 1 now, and his first lap time on the board, a 42.699. I have no clue if that's good or not, quite frankly. But across the line next will be the number 7, Julian Rack, 1.3 seconds up at the moment. And Keishan Hall slotting in there 1.188 seconds or so. Salmon's time holding up at the moment. We'll have a look at the 27 car. As Ryan Prezes is what I'm going to be calling him. And I know he hates the name, but I'm going to call him Ryan Prezes until I one day learn his surname. It comes down into the chicane then. Tricky one this, because it's kind of unsighted with the tyre bundle on the left hand side, which you can't really see through the corner. Makes it very tricky, the S's, as we come down into the Melbourne Loop. And now the Melbourne hairpin, which is unsighted until you reach the crest and go down the dip. Lots of height change, lots of elevation change there in the final. When the penultimate corner, again, you come up the rise and then into the final corner, which is Goddard's. Through the corner is a little bit off camber as well. It's tricky. Went down the gear too many there. You see how the rear snapped around on him there. Comes out the corner. This will be just a banker. 4.2 seconds off at the moment, but a lap time on the board, which is a very good start indeed. Someone who's a little bit up on this time, possibly coming across the line then. Will he improve on that one? Indeed he does, by almost half a second there, so very good improvement then by the 68 car, our championship leader. And we'll go through those championship standings now then. So obviously leading the way is, if I can find the race results, there we go. And we'll scroll up to go find them on the last one. Here we go. So the British GT standings, 16 people have taken part with us over the course of the last 6 rounds. We are missing 7 tonight. One of them is me, but I'm commentating, so that would explain that one. A few others that have other commitments or are unable to join us due to hardware and software issues. But leading the way, Salman Sold on 177 points, 64 points ahead of P2. And P2, John Wazorek, not here tonight. That throws a spanner in the works for sure. P3 in the championship, Julian Virak. Currently P4 in qualifying. See how Salman's sawing away at the wheel there through the S's, trying ever so hard to get the power down. It's very hard to do so indeed. It's Julian Virak P3. Only a point behind John Wazorek, so wherever he finishes today, as long as he does finish, he will overtake John Wazorek for P2 in the championship. Not far behind, only 3 points behind Julian, is Casey Soul, who's currently P2 in qualifying, so that's going to be an interesting battle for second place then in this one. Keishan Hall, 10 points behind Casey Soul, P5. Mike Trowicki, 83 points, 16 points then behind Keishan Hall. Then myself in P7, but obviously I'm not racing tonight. Keith Hurst, otherwise known as Dirk Diggler. The number 24 is Keith Hurst, currently P8. Tad Moore, not with us tonight. Jake Falcher, also not with us tonight, unfortunately. And yeah, that's unfortunate. Ramiro Perez, not with us. Augusto Lure, not with us. Ethan, who's having technical issues, not with us. Diego Alonso, not with us. Josh Stappen, who joined us for the first time out in the last round, unfortunately having other commitments with SRO and other eSport championships. And Derek McCord, who only took part in 1 round at the start, and has been moving house and things like that and doing adult things. So he hasn't been able to, you know, come and join us for any racing recently, because he's been doing all the adult things, and he thankfully is back tonight there. Currently last for those who have set a time, but he has been away from racing, so we can kind of excuse that for a little bit, give him a couple of weeks to settle back into driving the pretend racing cars he currently runs out. Or yeah, finishes up the standings, all 16 drivers there. So really the battle is for P2 in the championship here. The closest one, only three points between between Julian Virac and Casey Soul, and that's in favour of the Aston Martin number 7 driver here. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that changes hands. Casey very close to Salma's time there, within a tenth, and that's very promising to see. The weather getting a little bit drier, actually, it seems. You can see the minuses on your weather radar on your top right, which means although the track still remains wet as such, there is less rain falling on the track, and Julian Virac certainly using that to his advantage. Takes pole position by just 3 thousandths of a second. Extremely fine margins here. The top 3 here covered by a tenth. See, Casey Soul then is in the pits at the moment, currently changing up their setup, along with the number 24 car also in the pits, looking to make a few amendments before they go out for the last dash, the last 5 minutes here. They get 2 or 3 laps in. You see the lines that Keishan was having to take, real compromised, not on the throttle at all. It's super slow, and it's just taking a long time to get around those corners here. He's currently up by a tenth though, as is Julian Virac as well on my deltas, but that can chop and change, and it probably will as we continue on through these laps as the 999 has gone around. Let's have a look at that. He retires to pit road as I go to look at it. That's kind of annoying, but you know, those things sort of happen. To go on to back to the outside TV cameras. You know, there's only so much on board you can look out. Pure white BMW, that definitely won't be white after this session. It's going to be very muddy and dirty indeed. We're going to have a 50-minute race then tonight, with 1 mandatory pit stop in a 10-minute window. That'll open that'll open 20 minutes into the race and close with 20 to go. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. No. No. It'll open in the middle of the race, basically. Bookended by 5 minutes either way. There we go. That'll do. The P4 goes Keishan Hall, bridges that gap just a little bit then to the top 3. Good to see Julian obviously maintaining his lead at the moment. We'll go have a look at the 513 then. That is Mr. McCord. Currently last place out of those who set a lap. Fortunately, the 24 not set a lap yet, and still in the pits as well, so he needs to get out pretty quickly if he wants to set a lap during qualifying. So I may have a look at our Discord chat to see if maybe he's pulled out or come into an issue. Maybe. Hopefully not. There's no comments in any of the chats, so hopefully he's still good to go for this one. Coming through the final corner is the 513 Mr. McCord. Hashtag white wheels or white rims on this car coming across the line. Will he improve on this one? He does indeed. Good improvement there by about 1.5 seconds. Brings him a lot closer to the rest of the field. Still a little way away, but of course on his return back to racing, it's sort of to be expected, especially in tricky conditions such as these. Coming out the final corner is Ryan though. Looking to improve, indeed he does. Just a teeny bit there. I think there's a 1/10 improvement. Next person who's on the lap that's clean is Julian Virac, our current pole sitter at the moment. This comes into final corner. Can he improve on his time or not? The 513 McCall going off at the exit of the old hairpin, coming across the line, and is Julian Virac. Is he going to improve on this one? Yes, actually he does, by about 0.03 of a second. He's going to get blocked maybe by Keishan Hall coming out of pit road there. Casey Soul then in the number 5. Porsche goes a little bit wide out the old hairpin, doing something very similar to Derek McCall, but keeping it on the track this time, so that's a lucky for them exactly. what you want to be doing, pushing those limits, but keeping it on the track, which is ideal. Coming up through the double right-handers at the top of the track, McLean's and then Coppis. Coppis very tricky indeed. You come over the rise, hit the bump, try to turn in for a corner that keeps them falling away from you. You have to keep on turning it through this 90-degree corner. It doesn't really look like a 90-degree corner, but it is, because it takes a very long time to get there. Very tricky indeed. Coming through the chicane and a little deep there, manages to gather it back up. A big slide on exit through the S's. That's going to cost them a little bit of time coming down the hill then. Where can Case gain any time, if any, if she's lost any through the S's, which you probably think that they would have done so. That slide on exit really not conducive for any time gaining. Coming up to then the final corner is a slow car in front of it. It's a 27 then of Ryan, who's just gearing up for another lap, taking a bit of a alternate line, it looked like, then to set himself up for a lap. Cross the line does not improve this time around. The 68 next to cross the line with only 40 seconds left to go. The track getting better and better, and two pole once again. Simon Massad 2.1 seconds to the good. He is over Julian Vrac. Can he respond? Not this time around, but they both have one more try to get a lap in. The number 4 coming across the line, not on the lap, but will be able to start one in time along with the number 1 car, Hernan Gio, who's got 15 seconds to get to the line to be able to start another lap. Will he get there in time? Hopefully. I think he's good enough to get across the line. Yeah, he will, with just about 5 seconds left on the clock. He will be the last person to set a lap if his is clear. Then the 27 is the one leading the way at the moment, or will be the one who's going to be finishing their lap first. I think Julian has no, it's Casey Stoll who's retired to the pits. Will go no better than P3. Neither will Derek McCord or Dirk Diggler. Keith Hurst, they will be maintaining P8 and P9 there. Through the S's goes Ryan, neatly does it, albeit missing the first bit of the chicane just ever so slightly. The 999 and the 1 have all gone off. Their laps are over. That's Mike Trawiecki and Hernan Gio then coming through the hairpin. Is the 27 up the hill, the only amateur rated driver here, outscoring a silver and a couple of pro cars, which is always good to see. Coming through the final corner then. This is the last chance to gain any extra time, and let's see what they can do. Currently 3 seconds to the dot from someone. Improves by 1.2 seconds there. Good improvement on his final lap. Takes himself to P6. Next across the line, the number 7, Julian Vrac. Can he do that? 2.1 seconds away. I doubt he'll gain 1.2 seconds like Ryan did, but can he cross the line? Doesn't improve. And there is your grid for the race then. The 9 cars who set the laps, only 8 of which actually set valid laps. I don't think Dirk Diggler really bothered with that one, so we will take a quick break here. Indeed, slippery curbs, watch out for your braking distance. We'll take a short break, we'll be back in a minute. as the cars get underway then here. Apologies for the stutters there. There's a couple of stutters there. I think not quite sure what was going on there. The game just trying to get used to the next session there. Let's take you through the grid then here. So we'll go to our helicam shots. Look at the rain, it's flooded once again. It's not going to get any better for the next half of an hour. A tricky race lays ahead for these 9 drivers here. So the pole man, Salman Sold, taking pole by 0.2 of a second over Julian Verac there in P2. As it won't let me select him. There we go. The Frenchman in P2 then in a James Bond style livery, but I don't have the livery pack, so I can't see it. It's kind of sad because apparently it's quite a nice livery. Casey Sold takes P3, narrowly beaten out by Julian Verac by a 10th or so. Next comes the BMW of Keishan Hall, P4. The mid car in our field, Mike Trawiecki, the 999, not a Porsche but a golden Mercedes this time around. P6 goes to the 27 of Ryan Prezes in a all blacked out Porsche as well. Number 7, the number 1 car, Hernan Gio on his debut entry. Hopefully you see some good things from him. Rounding out the field then, the 513 of Derek McCord in the Mercedes, who's right on the back there of Hernan Gio. Trying to pressure him already, even on the formation lap. And the final man on the grid is the 24 BMW of Dirk Diggler of Diggler's Dongs Racing. What a name that is as they go side by side now, 2 by 2 by 2. You can see those red lights glinting then, or reflecting off in the struggling for the word apparently, in the reflections of the water, you know, are difficult for sure as we're coming and through the final corner, getting ready to go racing here at Donington for 50 minutes of racing. Still on your left hand side there is a mandatory pit stop here at some point to be done in that 10 minute pit window as we wait for those lights to go green. And indeed they do. Away they go. It's a good start for our poleman. Bad start for Julian Verac. There goes the green light there. So an early jump then for the pole sitter here. Case goes down the inside of Julian Verac into P2. Keishan Hall trying to go around the outside there. Wasn't doing this time around. You can see them squirming around in the tricky conditions, trying to get those temperatures back up then as they flood their way through the flooded section of the crane, the curves into the S's, and then the old hairpin for the first time. The midfield then, as Case goes a little bit wide on the exit of the old hairpin, and Julian's trying to capitalize on that. And look at the slide he's got, taking the alternate line, keeps it out the wall though, luckily bouncing all over the place, and that gravel's going to bring him to a stop, but keeps it out the wall. So good rally driving there by Julian Verac. Keeps it going, doesn't even drop all the way to last place, all but one. It's good for him to keep that car on the back on the black stuff and out of the wall, and making sure there's no damage to that car. That would have been a race ending moment for him for sure. Had he hit that wall, you can see him drop down the timing tower on your left hand side. Now as it all updates, he's got a lot of work to do. Also qualifying P2, we know he has the paces, so watch him over the next 15 minutes climb his way back up the field, but it's going to be easier said than done. You see how he tried to make that move on Case just then, and running in the offline there, running in the much more heavily water populated area, and how much of an issue that was for him. You see Hernan Gio then trying to put pressure on Ryan Prezes, but Ryan goes off the track there in the 27, taking a bit too wide of a line there and just running himself out of the road side by side. Derek McCall and Julian Verac. Julian's going to be to the outside then into turn 1. Can he outbrake the 513 Mercedes into turn 1? Going to see, he's going to go around the outside, he's going to do it. Derek gives him a little bit of squeeze. They've both gone wide there, and there's contact between the two of them here, between Julian Verac and Ryan Prezes here. I think Ryan and Hernan came together, or at least both overran turn 1, and Julian just wasn't expecting there to be two slow cars on the exit of turn 1. It's unfortunate for them. No, Ryan has dropped all the way to the back of the field there because of that, and that's real unfortunate. Back at the front though, however, Simon Sells leading the way. 2 seconds the gap good to him. At the moment, he's got 2 seconds over Case, who has almost 3 seconds now over Mike Trowicki. He's got a big gap over Keishan Hall and Hernan Gio, who's taken P4. It looks like indeed he has. Maybe an issue for Keishan Hall during that one, as well as Dirk McCall. So the field's starting to spread out just a little bit at the moment. Cars are still squabbling over position here. Down the inside into the S's goes Junior Wreck, has to back out of it. McCall chops the nose off, but a better exit surely for the 007. Indeed it is. Dives to the inside. He should have the move done then into the Melbourne hairpin. Breaks down on the inside. Can he get it stopped? He can indeed. McCall will try and get the better exit out of the hairpin. Not doing it this time around. The place secured then for Junior Wreck. Back up to P6 then. Next on the list will be Keishan Hall, who's lost the place to his BMW brother, Hernan Gio, who started P7 as worked his way up to P4. So a good start by him. We'd be very happy with that. And indeed, we're going to have a good race indeed here, David. Hope you're enjoying the show. Solo commentary by me today, but do stick around. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do so much, come back on Saturday for a 4-hour race with 22 cars at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya GT3 race there, possibly in the rain as well. That's going to be quite an exciting one for sure. He's closing in gaps. Hernan Gio going a bit deep then through, and we're going to go on board, and you cannot see anything whatsoever here. It's going to be very, look at that. It just shows how tricky the conditions here are for the drivers. That you really need those tail lights from the car ahead to help you see where you're going. Obviously the spray is not helping matters at all for Keishan Hall, so he loses visibility from the spray but gains back some form of recognition of where he is on the track via the tail lights of the car ahead, trying to get that place back then from Hernan Gio. And Keishan was pretty good in qualifying, put it into P4. Get a bit deep is the number 1 BMW. You see on your left hand side everyone has a golden 1 next to them. That means there is still one mandatory pit stop for everyone to take. That pit window will open in about 10 minutes time and will last for 10 minutes for everyone to make their stops. Bit deep is the number 1. Indeed he is. We're going to go back to an outboard camera. You see them go side by side up to the final corner. To the outside will go Keishan Hall in number 4. Can he make it stick? It's going to be very hard to do so. Number 1 goes deep though, however, leaves the gap open to Keishan Hall, nips it down the inside. He should have that move done and dusted indeed. And Gio is switching in to the slipstream there to try and regain a little bit of speed there. And in the background, well, not even in the background, right there, just behind him is Julian Vrac, second place man in qualifying there. He's going to be hunting down these two for sure. And look how squirrely Keishan Hall is getting all over the place, trying to put power on the exit of turn 1 as we go through turns 2, 3, and 4 then, coming out turn 4 through the old hairpin. And again, lighting up the rears, but they're catching up here to Mike Trowicki. He's currently P3 here in the 999 car. Looks like Mike's lost a little bit of pace. Indeed, he has. He's 12 seconds now behind P2. Not quite sure when that happened. It's happened very suddenly indeed. If you compare last lap times, indeed, Mike Trowicki on a 153.8 compared to Keishan's 148.2. Much slower was Trowicki by 5 seconds there, so he may have had a brief off at some point. Not quite sure when he did that or how he did that. And there could be a battle back here. Indeed, there is between. Oh, that's Keishan. No, that's Julian Vrac there, who's got some damage to the front nose there. So whilst we were away, I think Keishan Hall's made contact with somebody, possibly Dirk Diggler, who's at the back of the field, but he seems to be okay, so maybe not. But issues for Julian Vrac, maybe trying to get past Hernan Gio of Keishan Hall. Has damaged the front end nose of his car, and he's got all that work to do again. Sent himself to the back of the field on the first lap and has done it again almost. within the first 8 minutes. So he's done that twice within 8 minutes. That's real not good consistency from the Frenchman here. He's gonna have to wind that in. Maybe it's because he's racing at 3 a.m. in the morning. He may be a little bit tired. You know, at the front of the field though, Simon Saad eking out that gap by another 2 seconds from when we last checked up on him. There we go. English, the only one to set a 46 lap time that time around. Both himself and Casey Soul have set personal bests, which are in the 46s. A 46.1 for Salman Saad, a 46.5 for Casey Soul. The next fastest lap comes the way of Mike Czarwecki and Keishan Hall, who are both on 47.9s. So their best laps are 1.4 seconds off Casey Soul, 1.8 seconds away from Salman Saad. That shows the pace difference that these two have over the rest of the field. The number 7, that is Julian Vreck, who's gone round and has got even more damage to the front nose of that car. Really not getting to grips with the conditions there and exits the server. That's unfortunate to see. So we are now down to 8 cars here. Maybe we can get a word with Julian mid-race. Maybe. Let's see if he wants to stick around. Want an interview at Julian. He may tell me quite simply to go away in the child-friendliest of terms. But who knows? I will load up my Discord on the PC and see if he wants a cheeky little. He said no, so maybe that won't be happening today. Never mind. Always worth a try though, and yeah, and unfortunate for an early retirement there from Julian Vreck. Obviously, put it in second place during qualifying, had the pace, but when push came to shove, he was the one getting shoved and not doing the pushing. Dropped it from P2, lost a position to Casey Soul into turn 1. Trying to get that position back through the old hairpin and then back up the hill. Got on a particularly wet part of the track there and just lost the rear, and around he went, and then doing it again at some point with possibly Keishan Hall or Ryan Prezes, then 27 maybe making contact with one of those two, and then putting the nail in the coffin, coming out the old hairpin once again, and that's all she wrote then. Unfortunate, but it's happened, but yeah, it sometimes happens, and some, especially with extremely tricky conditions like we're seeing here, it can happen indeed. Up to 5 seconds now is the gap between P1 and P2. Slowly edging out, but it seems to have decreased in the velocity of which it was spacing out their case coming across the line and setting a lap that was only 2 tenths slower. Both of them now reaching 45s. So Salman Saad and Casey Soul setting personal best laps on that lap. Salman Saad a 45.747, Casey Soul with a 45.912. So only 2 tenths off. The leader there was Case on that lap, so the gaps are starting to come a little bit closer. Salman's still the quicker driver, but not as quick, or doesn't have as much of a delta over Casey Soul that he did earlier on in the race. Czarwecki has lost a place then to the number 4 of Keishan Hall at some point. That's unfortunate for him, who's maintaining P3 for quite some time, and for a good first 10 minutes of the race. Unfortunately, he lost that one to Keishan Hall. Another lap time that's 6 seconds slower than Keishan Hall, so maybe a mistake was what did that for Mike Czarwecki here. And maybe just maybe Ryan Przewalski could catch up here. Gap is 8 seconds, so it's quite high indeed, but that is a possibility indeed. As there's a yellow out on track, and that is for the 24, currently in last place, unfortunately. Who, just like Julian, is having some real struggles with the track conditions and does retire to pit road, and will leave the server then as Czarwecki goes deep through the S's. That's going to ruin any time that he was regaining up to Keishan Hall then. That allowed Ryan Przewalski, Prezes, a little bit closer then. Yeah, unfortunate. So we have lost 2 then. We're down to 7 drivers now compared to the 9 that we started with. And I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. Or when doing solo commentary and you're the only one talking and you have to make sure all those gaps are filled, your mouth can start to feel it for sure. Across the line, Trawicki, even with that poor line through the S's then, losing himself a fair bit of time doing so, was a second quicker than Keishan Hill, so maybe Keishan as well having equal difficulty that time around. We're going to run with him here. We're going to go on board then. You can see the spray that comes up from the car ahead, and the wipers working overtime here to come up the hill and lifting off there through the left-hander, just trying to get a bit of extra balance there at the rear possibly, or at the front, trying to get that turn in for the car, just taking off a bit of speed and keeping that car stable, which is exactly what Julian didn't do on the opening lap. You can see the BMW goes all tail happy, doing it twice then, and same then for Mike Trawicki. 2 traction zones it seems we've got today coming out of the 90 right hand, the long 90 right, that is what corner is that again? That is Coppice, of course, Coppice, and big sideways moment there for Trawicki coming through the S's as they dive their way down to the Melbourne hairpin once again. A bit deep on the brakes there is the 999, can get it swinged around though, but a little deep there, a little unnecessarily deep too. The gap coming down to 1.3, that probably opened up just a little bit again due to that mistake there from the 999 car, but even more of a mistake is the number 4 car. There goes Keishan Hall then off the track and rejoins and just gets in behind. We're going to go back to the onboard then to come across the line. Mike Trawicki retaking that podium position. Look at the spray, can't see anything whatsoever. These conditions super difficult for the drivers here tonight. And see, Keishan Hall was able to get past Trawicki beforehand in the first 10 minutes of the race. It is now switched positions once again. Can Keishan Hall get past 35 minutes to go? That pit window will be opening in about 2.5 minutes, I believe, and will stay open for 10 minutes. Goes deep, does the 999, and spins up the rears there. So we'll switch then back to, and you can hear the differences in sounds between the BMW and the Mercedes then. Mercedes with a much more deeper growl, much more lower resonating tones there compared to the BMW. And I think I prefer the sound that the Mercedes has if we get off camera set 1. We're going to go to camera set 2 because camera set 1 is awful. Quite frankly, pretty bad as camera set number 1. Come over the little hump on the back straight. Looking to the inside is Trawicki. Not really an overtaking opportunity there, especially in the wet, let alone the dry, and you definitely need to be alongside, if not a little bit ahead, to do so. At the back there could be a little bit of a battle between Derek McCord and Hernan Gio. The gap there, 1.2 seconds. We'll have a look at that. If this battle gets completed or fizzles out. Mike Trawicki trying to put the pressure on number 4 here. It's been doing so. Goes deep though, does Keishan Hall. Similar to what he just did the lap before. Surely is not ideal for him. Needs to get that consistency a little bit more under control then. Comparing those lap times, Keishan Hall was the second quicker that time around. As the track remains flooded and a little bit of a lag there, helping out with the sideways action that the number 4 got. But still lighting up the rears, and down the inside goes the 999 car. Gives a good racing room there to Keishan Hall, but very good effort there and putting on the hazards as well, showing his probably, you know, anger, maybe not so much anger, but his displeasure with not being able to get past the number 4 that time around. And the reason that Keith Hurst has retired is he was having some hardware issues there with his wheel. Apparently, it's having trouble syncing up with ACC, which is unfortunate. The hazards remaining to go on the 999 car. So you see there in the front of your shots, as they went through the hairpin, was the number 68 car. You see how far the front two are ahead of everyone else. The gap now between first and second eking out to about 7.5 seconds. So it's still being pushed up there, 7.7 seconds then. It's the gap between those two, but they are clearly the class of the field at the moment here. As looking for a move again is Trawiecki. Derek McCall has dropped off away from Hernan Gio to about 4 seconds away, so Aussie pushing to take P6 away from the number 1 BMW, possibly pushed a little bit too hard, ran himself out of road at some point during that one. Close but not close enough is the 999 car. You see how they both light up the rears and get all sorts of sideways coming out of turn 1 and down turns 2, 3, and then number 4 as we look through it now. Turn 4, the right-hander at the old hairpin. Getting back on the throttle and back up the hill. The gap within a second between the two here, battling over the last step on the podium. 26.5 seconds is the gap between P2 and P3. That is a humongous lead that those two have over, in 10 seconds the gap now between P1 and P2. Possibly Case making a little bit of a mistake there to drop a couple of seconds within a couple of sectors there between herself and the leader. But the pit stop window should be opening in 45 seconds, I believe. 20 minutes into the race and closes with 20 minutes to go. We will see if that is true, and they'll have 10 minutes to do a mandatory pit stop, and I believe that is just for fuel. I don't think they have to take tyres, but I'm not too sure on that one. Maybe they do have to take tyres. We'll find out. Coming up the hill then. Still coming out to just over a second. Recorder's caught right back up though to Hernan Gio, and we'll have a look at that in a minute as the pit window is about to open. Will any of these dive it in, or are they just a little too far ahead? It looks like it. They've both gone past pit road and unable to do it this time around. Let's have a look then at Derek McCall, who's been closing the gap then to Hernan Gio. Once again, dropped back to about 4 seconds. That's come to within a second. The pit window open. Looks like Ryan Przewalski Prezes has gone to pit road and the first to do so here. Almost at the halfway mark, but not quite. I wonder if any of these guys are feeling like they may need to change their tyres as well. Will either of these two pit? No, not this time around. But that could be a potential issue. Maybe people, if they're wearing down those wets a bit too much, they may have to change the tyres if they maybe got the pressures wrong and start grinding through the tread on those tyres a little too much. Battling over the last two positions here. Obviously they've jumped Ryan Przewalski, but he's in the pits, so that would explain that one for sure. Coming back up the hill then, Ryan has completed his pit stop and is now a lap down to Salmasald. As goes deep is Derek at the top of the course. Of course, Ryan a lap down now, but we'll get that lap back once Salmasald makes their mandatory pit stop. Coming down then the back straight, which has a bit of a lump in it as they go over said lump. Now going defensive is Gio, but this isn't really an overtaking opportunity, so I'm surprised that he's gone defensive there. Derek lunging to the inside, has to back out of it a little bit. Do any of these two go for pit road? No, these two, Mike Trawiecki and Keishan Hall, carrying on once again. Hernan Gio and Derek McCall coming up to the penultimate corner. Let's see if either of them make their stop. Casey Soldo, the number 5, has made their stop and down the inside there from the penultimate corner. Going a little bit wide there was Hernan Gio, allowing the inside move to happen for Derek McCall, but Back to the inside goes Hernan Gio. They leave each other good room. Maybe Hernan will go for pits. Not this time. I might have done that because you were compromised at the final corner and not lose too much time accelerating down into turn one. Use that compromise line to dive for pit road. But both these two wanting to continue with their battle on track at the moment. Casey Soul completing her pit stop and coming out just ahead of these two, which is crucial for her race. Make sure she doesn't get stuck behind these two then. Side by side, and Hernan Gio nips it down the inside, takes that position back then from Derek McCord. Derek running a little bit wide then through turn one, allowing that move to happen. These two switching positions left, right, and centre here. As it is 2 AM and I won't lie if I'm not just a little bit tired. But the racing's good, so I'm enjoying it. So it's worth the yawn because the racing is good. And coming out the last corner slowly is Ryan into pit road, possibly. Not sure why. He has completed his mandatory pit stop, but is in the pit road. We didn't see a drive-through pop up for him, so I'm not sure about that one whatsoever. Coming out the final corner, Trawicki now ahead of Keishan Hall. Actually, no, that has been happening, but both of them carrying on for another lap. They've only got 6 minutes left. We're almost halfway through the pit window. So, got that to counter in, and they only have a couple more laps before they themselves need to make their one and only mandatory pit stop. They blast their way through the cane of curves then in a camera which definitely would have been taken out by now if it was on a bollard in that certain location on the inside of the turn 3, kind of crane of curves. Ryan still in the pit, so let's go have a look at him. Not too sure what's going on, so we wait for the camera to swing around. There he is. Not sure what's going on here. Don't think he would retire the car, but we'll see. In almost side by side, Derek McCord still trying to get past the number 1 BMW in front of him. They blast their way down the crane of curves. 5 minutes left to go in that pit stop window, and they both run deep here, but running deeper is Hernan Gio. Runs too deep, bobbles over the grass then, keeps it to the left hand side, allows for a safe rejoin, gifts Derek McCord P5 then. So still waiting on the 27 to come out of pit road. I'm still not sure what's going on there. As you hear the call there from Fake Jeff, we are halfway through, not done yet. Indeed, the 999 then having a bit of a gap over the number 4 car, which is the first time that's really happened. Well, either of them dive pit road. 999 does not, but the number 4 does. So here we go, different strategies by these two. Can that work out for the number 4? We'll soon see. Ryan still in pit road. Not sure what that's about. It's unfortunate there. I think the number 1 just went a little bit too deep, and indeed he did through the S's. Saw him coming on at a weird angle, so slight miscalculation by him. We'll see if these two come into pits as well, as we've only got 4 minutes left in that pit window. It means it's got to be done soon. Struggling on power there was the number 1. That sound like the traction control. That is the wrong pit lane, dude. Wrong pit lane. Will he figure it out that it's the wrong pit lane? Yes, I hope so. They haven't used that pit road since either early 2000s or late 90s. The last time it was used was to split a multi-class race, and that looks like too fast into pit road. Very much so. We might have a speeding in the pit lane penalty there for Hernan Gio, who does make it to their stop, I believe. We'll wait for the jacks to go up. Indeed, it looks like he is in pit road and settled, so he has made it to the pit stop, but that's definitely speeding in the pit lane right there. His pit limit's obviously not engaging there. Which is unfortunate, but I believe the last time they used both pit entries at the same time was either early 2000s, late 2000s for I think a British GT race, and they were having so many issues with higher class GT cars running into the back of lower class GT cars whilst coming to the pit road. They just separated the two. They made they made the lower class GTs take the first one on the inside where we just saw Hernan try to go through, and then they made the faster class cars take the one that we currently use, and it kind of worked. A couple of interesting moments when they rejoined and re-merged in pit road if two came in at the same time, and we are down to 6 now. We have lost Hernan Gio, unfortunately, from that mistake in the in pit road. Number 5 here, just getting ahead of Derek McCord. McCord now diving for pit road. We'll see where he comes out in relation. Well, it would have been in relation to Hernan Gio, but fortunately no longer with us, and Ryan as well still in the pits here, so they're not rejoining as well. But who is rejoining is Mike Trowicki coming out of pit lane there. Number 5 has already gone through. That's Casey Soul, he's gone through. And Derek McCord, who is somewhere in pit road, somewhere there he is at the end of it. Mike Trowicki coming out along with Keishan Hall. And that gap has extended big time between the triple 9 and the number 4. So Keishan Hall with a very slow pit stop. Not quite sure how his pit stop has been as slow as it has been. But with a minute and 20 seconds to go, McCord needs to make their stop, Salm needs to make their stop, both of which are in the pits, so they're okay. And they are into pit road before that time ends, so they are okay. We see if Casey Soul is able to gain any time then on Salman Southern. Round goes the number 4 car straight into the barrier. You see that bonnet pops up a little bit with the damage there, and there goes Ryan. So Ryan is back out on track, thankfully, which is good to see. Still going, still learning, and still adapting to the conditions. All 6 drivers then. We started with 9, only 6 remain here, but they all have done their mandatory pit stop as the pit stop window is about to close here. So 20 minutes left to go here. Closest battles are between Trowicki and Soul and Keishan Hall, who needs to make up that time he just lost to Trowicki. Yeah, but you could have a little battle here with the 27 here if you wanted to. Not too sure. Ryan multiple laps down though on everyone else, and there goes that pit window. Just 20 minutes left to go here, and I suspect a little bit of damage then to the number 4 car. Let's have a look at his steering wheel. Is that slightly warped? We need a helmet cam, and we are not going to get any information there, so we will go back to that helmet cam once we're on the straight, so we can figure out whether or not that steering wheel is at an angle or not. We're not going to see for a little bit while, because 1, we've got corners, and 2, you're still turning a little bit on the straight because of all the water here. You have to make tiny adjustments to make sure your car doesn't just sail off into the distance like we've seen happen to Julian Vrac and Hernan Gio as well in this race. But Keishan up on the back then of Ryan, who's currently last in this race here at the back of the pack, a couple of laps down. He spent a very long time in pit road for whatever reason, but nonetheless back on track now. It's good to see. Of course, not retiring the car and carrying on and going to get those points indeed for his car. That's what we like to see for sure. So I'll have a look now whether or not he's got any damage, and it looks okay. I think it is pretty much fine, so Keishan Hall should be fine to be keeping up with those it should be fine to carry on. No damage to his suspension, which is very good to see indeed. Pretty slow lap then from Casey Soul. It was a 154.0 compared to Trowicki's 47.9. The gap 6.5 seconds there, so maybe Casey Soul's had a bit of an incident somewhere along the lines. Been able to bring that gap down, but we know Case is quick. Has been in P2 for all of the race bar the first 4 corners. So we know she has the pace, but maybe Trowicki can pull something out the bag here and gain a little bit. Indeed, he gained half a second through the first sector, remarkably, and see the sideways action from the number 4 in the 4th place. We'll go have a look at Trawicky then. Switch that one. So he gets a big slide on then. So we'll go through the right-hander here of Coppice, and we'll come up to that sector line that's on the back of this back straight here. We'll see whether or not that gap's come down any more or not. Flooded indeed, and the rain will lessen ever so slightly in half an hour. However, that really means nothing for our racers here, because the race does finish in 17 minutes, so pretty much useless information for them there. And indeed, the gap coming down by another second, so Casey's struggling out there, and I'm not too sure as to why. She's decided to struggle as much as she is right now. You'll see as it comes across the final corner, then taking a very wide line. That's a karting line, wherever I've seen one. Karting lines don't really work in sim racing games because they're stupid and they don't really know how they work. Not really found a way to model them in yet. A 49.4, a quicker lap than her previous, but Trawicky 47.5, 1.9 seconds quicker, and the gap is 4.5 seconds here between Soul and Trawicky. He is gaining. Indeed, he is. Keishan Hall comes across the line. It is a 47.7, 2 tenths slower than Trawicky, and off goes Casey Solden coming down the crane of curves. Very much a one-line corner in the dry, let alone in the wet. You really need to back off, and that's going to cause her to lose a lot of time. And well, Trawicky's doing the same, so maybe she'll get away with it. Trawicky here, he's also extending and finding liberties with the track here. So yeah, look up the double right-handers here as we go. You see the AstroTurf causing a little bit of a snake there, a little bit of a tail wiggle for the 999 cars. We come through Coppice once again, down the hill into the S's. Let's see how this one goes. Missing that apex on the left hand side just ever so slightly, but neatly hooks up the right hand side and carries on, coming down then to the final the penultimate hairpin in the penultimate corner. And that gap now 3.5 seconds, so still continuing to come down, and well, it's very much visual now, for sure. Look at them, they are almost side by side. They're almost nose to tail is what I'm actually wanting to say. The gap now 0.5 seconds between the two, and this is battling over P2 and P3. And deep on the brakes is a 999 almost running into the back of the number 5 car. Seeing some spray for the first time in a while is Mike Trawicky, probably getting caught out by how severe the spray is here when running in the back of another car. Taking alternate lines there is Trawicky to Casey Soul. Doesn't look like it worked out this time. Again, taking the karting line is Trawicky, which definitely doesn't work in racing sims, unfortunately. It should work, but yeah, it definitely doesn't work, and that only really works when it's slightly wet and you have slick tires on. And that's in real life anyway. It definitely doesn't work in the sim. They haven't quite got that modelled as of yet. The 68 coming up to lap Mr. McCord. We'll have a look at that and see how that is going on. Our race leader then coming across the line set a 48.5. 3 seconds slower than his personal best though. The tyres definitely losing their grip now as we're within the last 15 minutes of the race here, which means they've already done 35 minutes of racing here. Conditions such as these, the wets will wear out pretty quickly. They definitely don't last as long as the dry tires do, that is for sure. And I think Sam Soul is just happy to sit here. He has, well, it says +1 on the lap on the gap compared to himself and Casey Soul, but we'll wait for them to cross the line, the number 5 and that 999 car. That should update, And well, it just goes blank, which doesn't tell me anything. Not helpful. But Case actually quicker than Salmon on that lap by 1.1 seconds, so Salmon just sitting behind Derek here, and they are both in the VC, so they're probably just talking to each other, having a fun time of things, showing the nose as Salmon styled, and almost running into the back of Derek McCall, probably getting a little bit called out by the difference in pace here, but Derek is not moving out the way here, looking to the inside, goes Salmon. Will he be able to send it? Indeed he will. Pretty easy move that one, I'm sure, to the inside. Derek not really getting out the way, but I'm sure he was just having a bit of fun there. Doesn't really affect Salmon's race, doesn't really affect his own race. The race that's going on at the moment is between Casey Soul and Mike Trowicki. Or actually, no, Trowicki's through, and very through. Through. Almost 2 seconds, if not more, the gap between Trowicki and Soul. So I think Soul's obviously made a mistake there. Trowicki himself makes a small error there coming out of Coppice. Definitely an issue there to rectify for both these drivers. So consistency for our drivers tonight hasn't exactly been there, apart from Salmon Sard, who's just been keeping it squeaky clean this entire race, but everyone else has had an issue this race. But that is life, and that's just how it is sometimes. And what I like is that we have 6 drivers out on track, and all of which are in a pair. The 68 and the 513 together, the 999 and the number 5 are together. And then the 27 and the number 4 together. And this is quite sweet, actually, isn't it? You know, everyone's got a buddy out there to be with, a friend, just to chill with and have a good time. And using all the liberties is Trowicki through the S's, running wide through the old hairpin. Where's Case coming through the background? Couldn't quite see her there, but there she is now. Much better line. You can see how much faster she's going up the hill in comparison between these two. That gap's going to come down just a little bit once again. Indeed, she's much closer. 2.7 the gap between the two coming through the first sector. Expect that to be within 1.5 seconds for sure as we come up to the second sector split, which is in the back half of this back straight here, with just 10 minutes to go. Then the final 10 minutes. We've had 40 minutes of racing, we've got 10 to go. About 6 or 7 laps indeed. 0.7 of a second. Within a second then, Trowicki going deep through the S's, then allowing the number 5 to get a much better line. The 999 will go defensive and have to brave the attack from the number 5. Case looks to the outside. Not going to have there, but can she get the cutback or a better launch out the hairpin? No, not this time, but it's closed up. Having to force that 999 defensive, allowing herself to catch up just a little bit more. Expect this gap to be about 0.3 of a second as they come across the line. 6 or so laps to go here at Donington. A very wet Donington, very British indeed, and just within that 4/10 gap, actually making my prediction true. Which is lovely to see. And a little bit deeper to 999, a better run surely from the number 5. Had to back out of it there, almost ran into the back of the number 999 card. We'll ride on board then with Casey Soul. Look at the view there, it is treacherous for sure. Trowicki running too deep once again through the S's, or through the I've just forgotten the name of them, and big slide on exit, had to back out of it, cut Casey Soul off there. That was a little bit naughty there from Trowicki. Looking to the right, looking to the left, sticking with the left this time again. To the outside goes Case, surely not round the outside. It looks like she's done it. Indeed she has. Well, not completely done yet, but to the outside and managed to pull alongside the 999 car. It's going to be very hard to go around the outside here. Indeed, the Merc cuts the nose off the Porsche and then cuts her off again. Squeezes the number 5 to the inside, and a bit of contact there. The number 5 was always alongside the 999 car there. And Trowicki just squeezing off Casey Soul there. Coming out of the Coppice right-hander there, but with still 8 minutes to go. In Case seemingly a little bit quicker. She was a second quicker on that previous lap, and immediately on the tail of the triple nine. Maybe the triple nine just waiting and allowing Case to go through. Possibly that could be what's happening, and they both run deep. Where are these two going? Not too sure. It's not even like the triple nine really forced the number 5 off. They just both went deep, both trying to outdo each other. Both of them shooting each other in the foot, but a mega run off the corner for the number 5 back to the outside of the triple nine. Will she go for the switchback or continue the momentum? Continued momentum is the option there. Indeed, that momentum's working there to the outside, but may have that move done. Indeed, she does. The triple nine allowing that to happen. In the background is the 7 and the 4 car. Keishan Hall only 10 seconds away from these two. These two have been fighting and holding each other up. Big time. Keishan Hall was 5 seconds quicker that time around. Of course, both of them made quite hefty mistakes, Casey Sol and Mike Cherokee, which definitely allowed Keishan Hall to catch up the amount of time that he did. But Case seeming to get away now properly from the 999 car, has broken away 2 seconds, able to get away from the reach of Mike Cherokee, who's now been left alone to P3. We'll check those timings though and see whether or not Keishan Hall can catch up to the back of the 999 car. That could be something with a battle for the podium. Still stuck behind the 27 of Ryan Prezes is the number 4 car, but I don't think he's really bothered about overtaking him at the moment. Trying to use him to claw up to the back of the 999 car. Maybe that is the strat that he's going for here. Just 6.25 minutes to go here. Our leader, Salman Saud, out there by a big margin. About half the track is the margin, maybe a third actually, over Casey Sol. There, then Mike Trowicki is now 5 seconds and dropped quite a ways from the number 5 car there, unfortunately, after a pretty fun battle between those two. Closing though is the number 4 car. Ignore that first car in the background, that's Ryan in the 27 car. That is not for position. Multiple laps down is that Porsche after spending quite a large chunk of time in the pits for whatever reason. It's unfortunate for them, but that white car in the background, Keishan Hall. We'll see as they come across the line. It is a 1:54.1 for Mike Trowicki, another pretty slow lap, and as Keishan Hall comes across the line, it is a 1:50.4, 4 seconds quicker than was Keishan Hall over Mike Trowicki. The gap is coming down 6 seconds though, with only 5 minutes to go here in this race. It's going to be tricky. Keishan Hall can get that podium from Mike Trowicki. We'll see if Mike can get his act together here and clean up some of his accidents or incidents that he's been having. Little scrapes here, like they're just running a little too deep, a little too wide through the old hairpin. It's going to cost him half a second, and it's really easy to do in these trickier conditions. But see whether or not he can hold on to the final step on the podium here. It's interesting because Ryan in the 27 is closing. He is extremely close now. Is that Porsche? How is he going to play into this one? Ryan has every right to unlap himself if he wants to, which it looks like he might do. But if he spends too much time battling with that Porsche, he'll leave himself vulnerable to an attack from the number 4 car, and that could well happen here. Looks like he's going to allow Ryan through here down the back straight, and indeed he does. Ryan goes through. He laps himself there as he's entitled to do so. Carries on there. Hopefully Ryan can break away now and not cause any issues though for the 999 car. And there is Keishan Hall, 7.4 seconds away. Very close indeed here. The battle for the final step on the podium. The blue flags are waving. That is for Ryan, but Ryan's the one unlapping himself. Should be able to break clear, and he's done so. He's got himself maybe a second and a half gap to the 999 car, but hopefully it doesn't put him off by being there. Should be okay though. And to the pits goes the 999, possibly underfueling the car. Wow. And pulling over and parking it? Not sure what's happened there. 999 cars will go helicam, and he's gone. Mike's gone. From third, now he's gone. 5 remain. The race of attrition continues here at Donington Park. Not sure what happened there. Maybe something's happening in the real world from Mike Trowicki that's caused him to pull over so abruptly. I'm not sure what's gone on there. He has in fact left the VC as well, so Something's happened, and I'm not too sure. 3 minutes to go. 5 remain. We've lost 4 from this one, unfortunately. Just 5 remain, though. 2.5 minutes left to go. Well, the closest battle, and I say that with inverted commas, is Casey Soul, Keishan Hall. The gap is about 15 or so seconds, so you can't really call it a battle either. So for now, we'll look at Salmon Sold coming through the Crane of Curves and now the old hairpin for the penultimate time, it looks like. Leading the way by a hella margin. As you can see in your track map, the number 5 there, Casey Sold, coming into the final corner now. Salmon Sold in the V8 Racing Chevy Camaro coming up through Coppice. It's just over half a lap he has over Casey Soul. As an incredible margin. Of course, Casey again caught up in a couple of battles early on, and that allowed Salmon Soul to break away and never look back. Comes into the S's then. He'll be on to start his final lap in just a moment. We'll have a look at Derek McCord then. P4. Battle of attrition. He's going to get himself a 4th place here, just by staying on the track and staying in the server. Ryan as well get himself a P5 as well, as long as with 1.5 minutes to go. I wouldn't have thought with 5 minutes to go we'd have another retirement, and we did with Mike Trowicki having to retire, which was really unfortunate in the final moments of the race here. And because he left the server, I'm not sure if he'll get 75% race distance points as well. Hopefully he does. If you, there you go, the leader is the final lap. The leader is not the final lap, but he is on the final lap. Of course, if you complete 75% of the race, you will receive points for where you finish, which is normally if you retire with 20% of the race to go, you'll shuffle to the back most likely, but you'll still pick up a handful of points, you know. If it's a full grid and you finish sort of 13th, 14th, you're going to pick up a couple of points then. Every little helps. So making your way to the 80%, the 75% mark is very much beneficial for the drivers if they can do. But because Trowicki left the server, not too sure if he'll be able to get that or not. Hopefully he will. Derek McCord goes adventuring out there. Casey Soul comes across the line to start her final lap. Then in the 27 as well, Ryan coming through the final corner and just exploring, you know, just doing a little bit of exploring. Never hurt anyone, you know. Comes across the line as well to start their final lap, and last person to do so, Keishan Hall in the podium. You know, having a good run for sure. Middle of the pack in P3 then, coming across the line to start his final lap. But we will then have a look at Salmon Soul. We're right on board for him for just a moment. We'll look at that wheel work then. So maybe we can go cockpit cam. Indeed we can. We'll have a look at the wheel work as he comes into the final corner. Maybe he will light up the tires for us. Coming out the final corner. No, steady as anything, but weaves across the line. Takes the win then for the 50-minute race here at Donington in very treacherous conditions. Next across the line is the 513 of Derek McCord, coming across the line in P4. Very much gifted a couple of positions there is the hashtag white rims 513 Mercedes, but I'm sure he'd be very happy with a P4, and he kept it on the track, and he kept himself in the server, he kept himself going. That is, if anything, the most important thing, that he just kept on going. And he may not have been the fastest here, obviously on his return back to racing you wouldn't expect to be the fastest by any stretch of an imagination, but just kept on going, kept it clean, kept it somewhat consistent, but didn't make any large mistakes that gave him damage, and he just kept on plugging along. Really good to see. Casey Soul come across the line in P2 then, the number 5 Porsche, who took P2 away from Julian Virac into turn 1. Julian trying to get that move back on her, coming up the crane of curves and up the hill. Couldn't make it stick, and Julian having a bit of an accident early on then. One of many for him, unfortunately. The 27 next across the line, Ryan Brzezowski, Prezes, whatever you want to call him, stuck in the pits for quite a long time for whatever reason. That dropped him multiple laps down the field and across the line to finish. Keishan Hall, who tied the final step on the podium. Donuts for the winner. Keishan doesn't like the donuts. Mike Traoraki and Hernan Gio will be classified there, it seems, which is good to see. And obviously 2 retirements, another retirement there, Dirk Diggler. And who was the first one? And we had Dirk, Julian, Hernan, Mike, Derek, Ryan, Casey, Keyshawn, Salman. That's 8. I'm missing 1. Don't know. I'm missing 1. Not sure. Anyway, that does it then for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was good fun, for sure. As I will bring up... Oh, I've been running that one all wrong, unfortunately. I've been running that one, haven't I? Oh, I have. I've been running the wrong overlay the entire race. That is kind of annoying, but that just sometimes happens. A little bit annoying that that's happened, but apologies. I guess you guys definitely don't want to see the bomb overlay, but yeah, small mistake by me. This was a bit of a late last minute put together thing, but yeah, silly mistake, kind of annoying. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. That has been round 6 of the GRG British GT4 Championship here on Assetto Corsa. Join us next week for round number 7, the penultimate round then. That will be, actually no, not the penultimate round. This is a 9 race calendar. Forget about that and keep on thinking it's 8. It's actually 9 rounds. Round number 7 then, we go to Snetterton for another 50-minute race. After that, 2 weeks, we will go to Alton Park for the final 50-minute race. And then on the 1st of June, round number 9 at Brands Hatch for 75 minutes of racing here on ACC. Other things going on, the GRG TCR Cup, which is happening soon-ish. We got a TCR photo? I think so. Let's see if we can bring that up. Yes, we do. We do have a TCR photo. There we go. Thursdays at 8 p.m. ET time on Race Room. We're coming into the final half of the calendar as well. The last 2 or 3 rounds. The championship battle brews between Ramiro Perez and Salman Sald, who's leading the GT4 championship in ACC. And finally, the 4 hours of Barcelona in ACC as well. And the new updated banner here with the bottom tag here, which looks quite nice. We need to update the others, and we will do for the following championships. But 4 hours of Barcelona at 1600 UTC on May the 15th. 22 GT3 cars will battle for 4 hours around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Join us then for that one. That's going to be a fun one indeed. Stay safe, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.